India produces approximately 14 to 25,000 architecture graduates each year. In recent years, enrollment in Bachelor of Architecture programs has significantly declined. Between the years 2016-17 and 2022-23, annual enrollments dropped from around 19,000 to 11,000 students, marking a whopping 41% decrease. A 2018 article by Times of India states India produces only 20% of national architects' requirement. As of 2025, this hasn't changed much. Yet many graduates are now swapping architecture for a completely different career path. Which begs the real question: the profession of architecture in India occupies a peculiar space. While it is publicly associated with cultural prestige and creative influence, the lived realities of many architects, especially those at the start of their career, are starkly misaligned with this image. Architects often contend with poor compensation, excessive working hours, and an absence of labor protections, making them one of the most undervalued professionals in the country's service economy. One of the most pressing challenges is the abysmally low pay many architects still face. Entry level salaries frequently range between 15,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees per month, barely covering the cost of transport or rent in major Indian cities like Mumbai, Delhi, or Bangalore. In some cases, students are expected to work unpaid for months under the guise of internships or learning experiences. Even with a few years of experience, monthly compensation often stagnates. The problem of poor compensation is compounded by the culture of overwork. A typical work week can exceed 60 hours, with weekend work treated as nothing exceptional. Equally troubling is the lack of institutional protection against workplace exploitation. The Council of Architecture, or COA, the statutory body established under the Architects Act of 1972, plays a regulatory role in education and licensure, but does not provide any concrete mechanisms for safeguarding working professionals. It has limited authority to enforce minimum wages, ethical practice standards, or redressal for harassment, consequently allowing firm owners and clients to exercise unchecked power over employees or freshers, knowing that recourse is minimal to non-existent. But why do young architects put up with all of the abuse in the first place? In a 2019 article, Death to a Calling, Marissa equates architects to archetypal heroes invited on arduous quests based on a calling. This calling is essentially an intense creative motivation to the idea of designing buildings. Perhaps it is this calling that convinces students to choose a path rife with professional exploitation. The pain endured through years of surviving architecture school is somehow met with an even more glorified willingness to put up with the exploitations in the field. After all, it's not work if you're doing what you love. Architects labor within ateliers. The pervasion of studio, design collective, workshop nomenclature over company, corp, limited helps protect the idealistic creative vision of the practice. So essentially, architecture schools create the calling and the firms perpetuate it. This reassertion mind numbs architects into acquiescing to the exploitation. And with this, the industry gets exactly what it needs: maximized utility with no additional costs. To the studio's credit, the starting salaries in architecture are low, partly because freshers are given work that is repetitive and often mechanical. This makes junior architects highly replaceable. Another reason that small firms might struggle with money is that design work is pretty hard to quantify. It requires multiple iterations and rework to arrive at a good design. You can't really put a price tag on ideation, and that puts architectural labor in a gray area. So, what exactly can we as architects do about this? At an individual level, what we need is organization. And by that, I mean better community support within the architectural fraternity, including opportunities for equal representation. Colleges need to stand up for their students so they begin their careers at a dignified level. Most firms and social media pages focus on skill building and romanticizing architects and their work, but more efforts need to be made to establish an open dialogue on the hidden realities of workplaces. It is important for governing bodies like Council of Architecture to standardize working hours, pay, and set some guidelines around ethical practices to protect young architects from exploitation. India needs architects now more than ever. And really, it's about time we reflect how long can we let skilled and trained professionals be exploited in the name of passion. My colleague and I work really hard to put together the research materials that go into painting an accurate picture of the current state of architects in India. So make sure to leave your comments in the comment section below. We'd love to go through your thoughts. That being said, our next video will take a closer look at the work and pay conditions of architects in the country. So make sure to subscribe to the channel to be notified when it's out. Thank you for watching.